Hey guys, Becky here with Design Bundles, and I'm super excited to have you join me today because we have a really great tutorial. We are teaching you how to apply vinyl using the wet method. All right guys, so here are all the pieces for our project. We have some transfer tape, we have the vinyl that we've cut. This is a shadow box that I've already disassembled, and believe it or not, I already cleaned the glass. Now to clean the glass, I just wiped it down with alcohol and then I let it sit for a little while. So I wasn't putting the vinyl straight on the alcohol surface. So this, let me tell you about this real quick. When I mixed up this mixture, all right, it was 1 bottle full of water and a couple drops of dish soap, just regular Dawn dish soap. All right, and what this is kind of like an application solution. Now this is the homemade version, this is the crafter's version, but if you really like using the wet method, which is what we're doing today, then what you're going to want to do is you can check with your favorite vinyl vendor and find out if they have the professional application solution, because that's going to give you even better results, okay? But this is what we're using today, and you need to make sure that you have a bottle that has a fine mist. Okay, so this is one that I bought in bulk. It probably came from Amazon. I use them pretty interchangeably. Like this one, I think I even had to clean it out to use it. But it's been mixed up for a little while. As a matter of fact, if you give it a shake, you can see some of the bubbles in there. All right. This is just regular squeegee, but it has a felt tip. It's covered, the tip of it, the end of it is covered in felt. So that's important, okay, to make sure you have that felt covered squeegee. Now you're gonna get kind of like a 2 for today. Here, I'm gonna move this part out of the way, because not only are we going to reverse layer this, but we are going to use the wet method to do it. All right, now what that means, reverse layering, is that we're putting this on backwards on the front, or actually on the inside of the shadow box. So I have mirrored the text so that it can go on the inside. So what that means is it has an offset. All right, you have the white and then the navy blue offset. Normally what I would do is I would pick up the white, pick up the navy, and put it on. But if I do that here, then that means the navy will be on the front and the white will be on the inside and nobody will see it. So what I need to do is reverse layer. I need to pick up the navy first, then pick up the white, then layer that down. Okay, so I have my transfer tape here, and of course my squeegee. All right, we're squeegeeing this down, okay? We finally have that on the transfer tape, and this part is going to get a little, we'll just say it's a little complicated. All right, and the reason I say that is because normally we would be able to use parchment paper or sometimes even the backing from our transfer tape and be able to line it up really, really well. But because we're laying a dark color that's going to fully cover up the white, then that's not going to be possible. So it's ultra important that we are using our registration boxes up here. You can see those at the top of the design. And guys, we do have videos on showing you how to layer using these registration boxes. So if registration boxes are new to you, please, please, please check that out. But what I'm gonna do is I'm going to cover up everything except those boxes. Now this is the backing for this transfer tape, all right? And the reason I want to cover everything else up is because a lot of times vinyl will it has that static cling. It wants to just hurry up and stick to each other. So what I'll be able to do is take this is my white, just line up my registration boxes. Now this is a pretty exact offset, so I really want to get my registration boxes as lined up as I possibly can, okay? Alignment is pretty important here, okay? Registration boxes are lined up, so now I can start pulling off the back. I am also going to, here, let's hold it. Let's hold it up here, because I want to make sure that I'm not going to get excessive bubbles when I put this down. So I'm going to go ahead and start using the squeegee here. And I'm going to squeegee it down as I'm laying it down on top of the other vinyl. Okay, now this is just the offset part that we're worried about right now. And then the bubbles, what we're really worried about when we do the wet method is not having any bubbles between our vinyl and the glass. It happens a lot on glass. It happens a lot on acrylic. Anything clear, especially when you're, anything clear to begin with. Like I said, acrylic and stuff like that, when you're putting it on the back side, you have to be careful. But it can happen too, even if it's not a clear project. You guys know what I'm talking about. You can get bubbles in almost any adhesive vinyl project. So the wet method is definitely the way to go if that's a problem that you're having. Okay, so I won't know until we peel this up how we actually did with our alignment job. So let's go ahead and do that. You know what? I'm lying to you. I want to go ahead and trim it first. And I no longer need the registration boxes, so I can take that off. So let's see how we did. Ooh, guys, I think we did good. I think we did real good. Oh, I love it. I love it. All right, so right off the bat, the only thing that I noticed is I missed a white part right here. I guess I missed that altogether whenever I was weeding the white. So I'm just going to take it off of the navy blue as well. Other than that, though, this looks really, really good. Look how good that came out. All right. Now, I'll tell you more about why I decided to go through the trouble of putting the background on there. You'll see it more whenever we're putting it together. But for now, let's go ahead and talk about the wet method. All right. I already filled you in on our solution. Just a couple drops, guys. Don't overdo it with the soap. And then, like I said, the felt tip squeegee. Now, I also want to say I am using a transparent transfer tape, but if you have any place that you can grab some locally, or if you are placing a vinyl order and know that you're going to try the wet method, go ahead and get a paper transfer tape. This will work. The paper transfer tape will work better. So I don't want to mislead you guys that this is the best choice. This is the choice that I have available to show this to you, but the paper transfer tape, once you get, because it's not clear, but once you get used to it, the paper transfer tape works a lot better when it comes to doing the wet method, okay? Now, the reason that the wet method works, we're going to spray. Now I'm misting, okay, all over my design here. And it's going to create a water barrier. I don't know how well you can see it, but it's going to create a water barrier. I'm spraying my vinyl. I'm not spraying the glass. I'm spraying the vinyl. Not only is this going to help with bubbles, but it's also going to help me when I do the placement because I'll have a little bit of wiggle room. I can move it around if I need to. But it helps with bubbles because when I use this to squeegee out the water, it takes the air bubbles with it. All right, so let's try to get this centered. Okay, you following? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my finger down here and I'm just going to start squeegeeing that water out. And all I'm doing is I'm working my way from the middle to the outside. Now, you will still likely see water trapped in there. That's okay. We can get to that. But what we're doing right now is we are squeegeeing the water out from underneath your vinyl. Okay, and as you do that, your vinyl will adhere to the glass. All right, now you still want to remove your transfer tape carefully. All right, so after you remove the transfer tape, just go back through, smooth everything down. Okay, now when we turn it over, you know what, let's go ahead and dry it off. Let's dry it off. And when we turn it over, now I'm going to hold the glass in, but you'll see that we have a bubble-free application. Okay, so it takes a few extra steps, but it is definitely worth the hassle. Now, with that taken care of, what I'm going to do, this is a very thin shadow box. It just has a little tray that goes in there. This is the backing. And this sheet of cardstock, or rather pattern paper, is the reason that I did the offset. because using a single color would not have stood out very well against this busy background. So I want to make sure I'm putting this on correctly. I'm going to turn this over. Now let's see how we look. Ooh, there we go. What do you guys think? Obviously, I like it. I like it a lot. This is, I say this, guys, after every time I show you guys a new project, but it's my new favorite project. Now I'm putting these tabs back in place, but you know, this is a shadow box. You can drop little memory items in here. This is, you know, craft your stress away. But last time I taught this as like an actual class, we made sure to put, you know, little photos of our class and new friends that we made. And, you know, we could put our lanyards in there and things like that. So these make really great memory items for you to be able to memorialize your crafting. So, but guys, like I said, you got a little bit of a twofer. You got to see what it's like to do the reverse layering. And then we did the wet method to go ahead and get it on there without those pesky bubbles. So guys, how did you feel about using the wet method to apply your vinyl? Now, I know that it can be maybe a little confusing, maybe a little intimidating, but once you just really dive in there and see how easy it is, because I promise it's a lot easier than it seems, and you get some really great results, which is super important when, like this project, I'm applying the design to the back of the glass. The last thing you want to do is adhere your vinyl and get all the way to the end to find out that you have bubbles all in between. So definitely very useful. I really love it. You know, and showing you that little trick for the lining up for reverse layering of your vinyl. It's just a little bonus. I'm gonna throw that in there. So just remember that that's what you need to do again for applying to the back. So I'm gonna wrap it up for today, guys, but don't forget, if you have any questions, any comments, maybe any tips that you want to share, make sure you leave all that below. I really love building this little crafting community. I love hearing from you guys. You go show some really great support for the channel and for the videos. And you know, don't forget, do your thing, subscribe, share with a crafty friend, give it a big thumbs up. All of that really goes a long way, and I really do appreciate it. So, all right, guys, that's it for today, but we'll see you again next time.